Hello, everyone. Um, Last time we met was about 2 weeks ago. We went over Eurobuddha's apps, which he has been producing more of, and he's got a few other things to show us today. I thought Patty might be here, but unfortunately he isn't. He has some personal matters to attend to over lunchtime. It's unfortunate, but it's fine. So you will surely see him in 2 weeks on the next dev call. In the meantime, if you haven't already seen, we did share last week that we have now figured out the NFT collections on Minima, which was a long-standing question, thanks to Eurobuddha, our senior dev. And before we get to that, he's going to be showing us Entropy. So, Barry, I'll let you take the...
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, the hot crypto news was the CoinKite hack. And essentially what happened there, as I explained, is they had a random number generator Python script that was being used to create all their seed phrasing. As it wasn't truly random. It was a bug on their system. Anyway, someone's realised it with AI and basically reproduced all the possible seed phrases and stole hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. So it occurred to me that we have our own random number generator through hashing from the gambling contract in Zero Hedge Casino. Plus there is some random number generating in Chrome, combining the two to create some true entropy. Anyway, so here is what I built, and it will help people create truly random seed phrases. The problem with the CoinKite one is it produced 2 to the 32 possibilities, which according to the internet is the equivalent of the number of atoms in a bacteria, for example. Having true randomness, true entropy, having 2 to the 150, 2 to the 128 or 2 to the 256 is the same as the number of atoms in the entire universe, which is why they're secure. Anyway, let me show you what I built. I built it after the meeting. I should have built it during the meeting, and I only realised later. So let's share my screen. Can you see that, guys? Yeah?
I can see it.
So what Entropy does is it allows you to choose 12, 15, 18, 21 or 24. Sorry. Can you see that?
Yep. I think.
Is that showing my folder or showing Entropy? It's not.
No,
it hasn't changed, is it?
Looking at your. No, it's the.
Right, let me try again. Excuse me. That is bizarre.
You inspired me, by the way, to
I know.
Because I connected my Android.
I know why.
Thing yesterday.
It's the wrong phone. That's why. That would explain it. Excuse me.
I did
Can you see that?
Thing yesterday. No, not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it works.
Okay. Entropy. So you can choose 12, 15, 18, 21 or 24 words. For this example, I'm just going to do 12. And what it does is it uses a well-established system, Ian Coleman's Bitcoin deriving software, publicly available on GitHub. And you roll the dice. Each 5 numbers produces 5 digits, and each 5 digits is a different seed phrase. You can do it automatically via our random number generator, which I have proven, as I say, is 2 to the 128 to 2 to the 256 of entropy. It's really secure. And then it will produce a safe seed phrase. I've got it visible. Normally you couldn't screenshot the page for security, and you would run this in airplane mode when you were doing this for extra belt and braces. Hang on. It's almost there. Okay, and then it produces a nice seed phrase. It also has, you can also use physical dice if you want real entropy. Roll your own dice, put in the numbers, and it will produce it. So this was just an example of how to solve a problem for a need that we had. And I like it a lot. It also does the checksum. You can put in 11 words and it will tell you what the last word must be out of a short list for the checksum to be correct. Now let's move on to the state NFTs. You remember last week I showed you a very rudimentary version on MDS. We're now on Android here. So what it allows you to do is to create collections. So this is the Devil Wears Panda, a generative collection. And you can see the top image is this panda. And then within the same token ID, I have 20 separate UTXO coins, each with a different image. How it works is it will mint the token initially. It will then gather them up and then split them into the number of tokens, individual NFTs you want. And then it will individually stamp them with a new image. That image is transferable only by a KissVM script. So it gets written with a KissVM script. It says the creator can create it and mint it once. And then when I send it through the script as well. And then it essentially recreates it. So when you receive it, it's effectively recreated on your side, and you get to own it. I have lots of different ways to create things here. So you have the single NFT, which is basically our old system. In fact, before we do this, again, a problem with the NFTs is, how can you host them? We have embedded on-chain NFTs where the images live on-chain forever. They are restricted in their resolution. So let me see. You can only have so much size there. So for nice photos and things, it doesn't really work. But for more SVG based vector graphics things, it works really nicely. As you can see here, I've got a Mondrian set. It's all super crisp and you can zoom in to the nth degree and it still looks amazing. So let's have a look. Oh yeah. So the problem therefore is hosting your actual NFT images if you didn't want to host it on chain or didn't want to use an SVG generated from my system. So if you go to manage, I've managed destinations, add a destination. So you can have, if you've got access to your own little server, you can put in your credentials and log in, and your images will be sent to that server for your NFT creation. You can use WebDev, you can use IPFS if you have access to an IPFS node, Pinata, which is a free IPFS platform, GitHub. If you've got a GitHub account and have a repo, you can create through GitHub pages and host images there. So you can just send your NFTs there. Or I've also integrated Arweave, which is a small service where for like $5 you'll get 60 megabytes of storage permanent, which is nice. And they are they've got a static address for your file, so that makes it compatible with what we're doing. So you've got a million ways to set up your storage if you don't want to embed on chain, trying to make it as easy as possible. And then I go back to the creation. You can make a single NFT, which is exactly the same way the old Minima did it, where the image is the top block, so the top level, like these ones. Let's have a look. Like this is a classic NFT that I bought from Socko ages ago, and these view regularly. The state NFTs need special wallets to be viewed. I've made an NFT wallet and I've made the Atelier, the studio, for that exactly. But let's go to the studio. So single NFT, custom tokens, you can just make a regular token. The generative collection, which is what I showed you on chain. I've done a few options here. You can have a mandala, click generate, and then it will just make a whole thing. If you change anything here, roll the dice and just change any part of this salt effectively, or you can change the rarity and the traits and then generate. So all the collections will be different. You can make it your own. So I've done geometric shapes, I've done pixel shapes, I've done maths curves. I mean, there's a whole host of things. Mondrian, a few art styles, Miro, which I kind of like. But Kandinsky, abstract thought forms, is my favourite sets. They come out really nice. So when you choose what you want, you can also, excuse me, I'm rambling a little bit. Picasso, Escher, Op Art, Seurat, Magritte. I've also given you punks. So you can generate your own punks. I've also given you Minima punks, which are a bit more Minima based, as you can see. And I've given you Panda punks, which is what I showed you earlier. All different traits and styles. You can import your own photo from your library. It's not the best. Let's choose a photo. Let's have me. And then let's generate. I don't know what they can be like. Let's have a look. So, various different. I've tried to sort of cartoonify it a little. Anyway, you can have some fun and play with it, make your own collections. And then the actual. Oh, I've also given you a full image editor. So you filter. So you can import an image. Let me see this. Right, you can import an image from your photos. And then you can apply different filters. You can halftone it. You can do some dithering, edge effects, and you can change all the parameters. It's a fully configurable image filter. You can make it as pixelated as you want. Anyway, you get the idea. I've tried to give all the tools required to make it as easy and fun as possible to get creative and make your own NFTs. One thing to consider is when you do build a collection, it does take time. As I say, it takes a couple of blocks to mint the token, then a couple of blocks to gather them, and then probably, depending on it, if you've got the full arsenal of 20 images, it will take 20 minutes to split them all, and then another 20 minutes to stamp them all. So it can take a while. While you're in the process of that, if the node loses track, you can come back and resume, and it will fix it. It will self-heal and get it done. So it isn't a quick thing, but it does do something quite special. So I think you should enjoy it. After I built after I built Atelier, the studio, I thought, okay, we need a new wallet, an all singing, all dancing Minima wallet that can view them. So I built NFT wallet. Let me show you that quickly. This is more akin to the original Minima Classic wallet, where you have your balances. You can mint things, send and receive. I've given you history. I've also given you the UTXO functionality from my UTXO wallet, which I'd showed you before. But the nice thing about this one is in the gallery, it can actually show these state variable NFT collections. So you can open it up and you can you can see all the images in there. The regular wallet will not allow this. These are self-hosted images. It actually views it better in Atelier, but this just gives you the ability to send them, receive them, and view them in a wallet. Anyway, so after I'd built the state variable NFTs, it occurred to me that this technology is actually pretty useful for social media. It's almost like a social media page. So I did some work, and we built the Salon. I mean, Neo's obviously inspired me to have all these French names: Atelier, the Salon, etc., etc. So what happens here is, on the first run, you create an identity token for yourself. Okay, and that is a token that just lives in your wallet as a regular Minima token with different fields. You can then, within the app, edit your page, so you can change your name. You can give yourself a bio, a long form bio. You can upload an avatar. Again, sorry, I've got ahead of myself. You've got the same destinations as Atelier, but with one small difference: the Arweave is not compatible with. Actually, Arweave would work here, but having permanent addresses was what's required for Atelier. Here, I've also given you maximum mesh, but that's a little nod to what's coming up later. Anyway, so you set up your destinations, whether it's IPFS, a server, Maxima. I might put Arweave in this as well, actually. And then, so you go to your page. you can set all the parameters, so you can upload your avatar and your banner like a Twitter page. You can set up a proof, like a web validation, just similar to the Minima tokens. You can add links. Yeah, so you can, I've added the link to MXUSD and to Eurobuddha.com. You can also add photos, small videos. I think 16 megabytes is the maximum when you're hosting to a server. If you're hosting to Maxima, then I think it's 12 megabytes for the whole page. But you'll cross that bridge when you come to it. You can add music there. You can post things. Let's do this live demo. Let's post that. Okay. And then what else is nice? I've incorporated our access mini DApp, which no one uses on Classic. And what that is a way to verify that you actually own the NFTs that you're claiming to own. So I've added some of my own NFTs here. And then I'm going to save and publish. These all live in my wallet. So now I've published, and then my page, I'm going to actually change phones. Let's go to another phone. Wait a second. You're going to see it on the remote user. 1 second. You stop sharing that. And start sharing this one. So this is a second device, also running the Salon, and you can go to the feed. Oh, it does take a minute. Oh, refresh. And then in the town square, you see other people's profiles. So you're not sending your token out there. You're sending a dust transaction with the state variables that represent each of your sections of your homepage, and then you can browse people's pages. So it's basically social media. I can see the pictures, play videos, you can play music. Can you hear that? Is it coming through? Okay. You can see all the look, you can see all the posts, like live demos, what I just posted a minute ago. And then at the bottom, you can see my NFT collections. So what's this? Gallery Bibo. Let's verify again. Oh look, it's verified in my wallet. I own this NFT collection. I actually own this art, most of it anyway. It's a real artist that I love. So I've given, collection NFTs, social media, all in a decentralized way, where people are self-hosting, taking their own responsibility and being creative. One of the criticisms we've been getting for Minima Core, and a lot of the anxiety from existing developers on Minima, is the fact that Minima Core does not have the mini DApp system, nor does it have Maxima, the communication layer. It's just the Minima protocol. So I thought I'd make my own implementation of of Maxima. But in order to make it viable and usable, I thought I'd make it into a chat app called Maxima currently. It's going to be rebranded to Salon very shortly, but it's not quite there yet. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And don't forget, tout est bien qui finit bien, Nesquik.
Nesquik?
Yeah.
La cerise sur le gâteau.
Okay, so let me go to Salon, Maxima. So I asked Claude to make a communication layer on Android that was backwards compatible with Maxima. I wanted it to have all the features and all the functions of Maxima, but perhaps be even better because it's on Android and it's been rewritten. Can you see that? Oh no. Oh no.
Oh,
it won't let me share my screen. Oh no. Let me make another build quickly.
While Barry's fixing that, I did want to sort of make an on the last call, we said that Barry's been refining and working on his Minima skills file quite a few months now. And you are starting to have a lot of tools that allow you to build various apps. So what you can do if you're interested in making your own app is simply go look at Eurobuddha's GitHub repo. You give that to your Claude. Your Claude will learn from it, see what's there.
More
And
than
then,
that, after the last meeting, I actually asked Claude to build a comprehensive set of AI skills downloadable, which is available on my website and in the Panda App Store. So you can download the full Minima skills properly and then just drop that into your AI, as well as pointing at the repo. Sorry to interrupt you.
so no, but this is good. So perfect example. I have also been playing around with Claude, making my own little version of Minima called Anima that is still being worked on. But thank you, Barry, because I didn't know. So now after this call, I'm going to be going over to find your skills, and I'm going to be giving that to my Claude, and hopefully it will just streamline any developments that I'm coming up with. So, for instance, I'm currently working on adding the confirmed and unconfirmed or locked and unlocked coins wallet, not actually displayed as a first iteration. And I'm also I've instructed Claude to look into the Minima NFT wallet that you just built, as well as Atelier, so that it creates an NFT section in my Minima app, um, so that it displays these new state NFTs correctly. And it's all really easy, as long as you have the skills. I mean, the skills file, not you as a person.
So I think what makes it easy is the fact that there is a history of work and code already out there. I say is when you give Claude an instruction, its first instinct is to solve this problem itself. It will try and write its own code. It won't look around and find existing code that it can reuse. I have to give my AI strict instructions to read my graph and check all the memories and check all the repos to find existing code that can solve the problem before it writes anything new. Otherwise, you end up having different protocols in different apps when they should all be the same. So what I'd say to you, Neo, when you're trying to add this, sendable, confirmed, unconfirmed lock, is look at my existing wallets, look at Atomics, look at Minima Wallet, look at my existing code, and point Claude at that, and then ask him to do it based off of that. And obviously you can change it and make it better, but I think it's a good place to start. Otherwise, it can take you a lot longer to go around in circles and reinvent it yourself. I mean, these are hard fought lessons mostly.
I've just reset my previous context window. I archived it and opened a new one. And I did do just that. I graphified it so that it would load its previous knowledge.
Yep.
So
Graphify, what we're talking about here is a GitHub repo that enables you to be much more efficient with the tokens you're using. The way AI works is whenever you ask anything, it will literally read the entire conversation. So maybe you've been in a long conversation, you've been developing in this chat, and look, I'm already almost there. I've got 98% context used in my chat. At some point, it will compact it and reset it. What Graphify does is it creates a node graph of all your repos and all your code, and it cross-references it. And the AI can read that a lot faster than having to load a million characters context window to get where you want to be. So it queries the graph first, finds out where the code is, then goes and looks there. So it saves on tokens. So with a £20 Claude subscription, you can get the same utility and output as you would with a pro account without Graphify. So it's really worth looking into.
Dr. ES, your message is actually really relevant because I don't remember the name. I know we had set up or created an app that was meant for ticketing purposes. Barry, I don't think that was you, was it? Do you remember that?
No, that was Eminem, no?
No. No,
What are
it's
you
fine.
asking?
I don't. There was an app that was created for MDS, and it was a ticket using NFTs. I don't remember. But in any case, I mean, it's pretty easy to set up. And what you could actually do is you can go into Barry's GitHub and look at his mini shop. apps and use those storefronts as the way to present the ticket, right? So there's a lot of tech out there that you can use to merge and easily build the various ideas that you have. I know a lot of people have been messaging me with various ideas, various documentation about apps that they think should be built on Minima. We're building, but we're trying to give you the tool. Okay, so ideally, you also need to jump on the bandwagon, use these skill files, do all these things, get Graphify, and just test it out. I mean, eventually, you will come up with a product that you're satisfied. What I'm building makes me very happy. Not necessarily excited, but I'm very satisfied with the fact that Claude has been able to reproduce what I had in my mind when I thought about it. So you should definitely
I think,
give it a go.
I mean, another thing to consider, and I think it's what makes us different from other platforms, is that we're not building applications, right? We have no, everything we're trying to build is, supposed to be decentralized to a greater or lesser extent. And what that means is, when things are decentralized, it means people have to do things for themselves. So what we're building is protocols that people can run and then interact with other people running the same protocol and then get to the desired outcome, right? So, everything I'm running on my phone, you can run on your phone as well. And then we can get to where we want. There's no middleman. There's no one taking a slice. There's no data leakage. But it's different to building an app where you have a centralized platform and a database that everyone can share. This makes things a lot easier, but a lot less secure. And a lot more up for scrutiny with regulations, etc. Anyway, with that in mind, I built my version of Maxima. Now,
I'm just going to interrupt you, Barry.
Go ahead.
Dr. ES, you don't need to be skilled at all. The perfect example is that, for instance, before Minima Core was around, and so we only had the NFTs, the only thing that I understood about a mini dApp was the HTML and the CSS, which means the front end. I didn't understand anything about the back end. Okay, I've started developing with Claude now. I don't have any knowledge, any real knowledge in regards to how to build these apps, but Claude does it very efficiently thanks to Barry's Minima Skills app. All you have to do is have a good vision of it. So you can get into it today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and again, it wasn't, I've been at Minima since the beginning. I like to think that I'm a technical person, but I am not a coder. I've never done any coding whatsoever. I can write a spreadsheet, but I'm not a coder. I can't define a variable. I don't look at the code. And with that mindset, I've been, I am technical. I understand how Minima works in some ways, and I can logically imagine how I want an app to work in its look and feel and what's going on in the back end. I don't know how to execute it at all. And that in many ways gives you greater freedom over trained coders, because trained coders will get, they'll get upset and frustrated with the speed and the volume of code that Claude produces and their inability to really follow it. And before long, they don't know how to, they don't know what they're building. But because I'm a little bit removed, I can understand. I read what it tells me, but I'm not looking at the code. I can fix things, I can break things, and I can improve things, and then that just builds on itself. And then you use the things you built earlier into the next project, or the next project will use this block and this block, and this Lego brick and this Lego brick. I need a wallet here, and I need a HTLC there. I want a gallery there, and it can just take from what you've built in the past. But open source is what we are. I say all my repos are fully public. I want to share this code. I want people to use it. I want people to change it. I want people to learn. And you don't have to be expert at all. You just have to have a vision and be able to speak to, your AI. The AI is not infallible, and it does lie to you, and it's only as good as the tin can that it's running on. But it does get the job done. And with code, you can push it in the direction you want it to go, and get to where you need to be. Maxima?
Absolutely. Let's move
on.
Ready?
To Maxima. Okay, so as I say, Maxima is the information layer on Minima. And what it does is it gives everyone a location and an identity, and then the messages are relayed via our server nodes with external reachable IPs, but they are all encrypted. the reason that the relays, the server nodes are happy to send those messages on is because every time you create a message, you do a tiny bit of proof of work and you attach it to the message. And that's why it contributes to the security of the network. Minima Core does not have the information layer, so I thought I'd reintroduce it. So I've asked Claude to rebuild a backwardly compatible but better version of Maxima, and this is where I have landed. So I've made it into I made it look and feel like a chat app, because you can run it without a Minima node. You don't have to have Minima Core installed on your phone if you want to run this version of Maxima. It will be compatible with, as I say, old Maximas. And, it's got the same stuff, share my address. It's the same, very familiar MX with a public key at the end. With an IP at the end, a reachable IP at the end. You can scan other people's and add contacts. Like once you have contacts, you can then chat with them. So, this is just standard, all right. And then that gets sent. Blah blah blah. Okay, but then in the same way as my Minima wallet, I wanted to be able to send coins within my chat. So within this Minima chat app, I have a wallet. That wallet is derived within the app. It's not dependent on a node. It builds and constructs transactions within the app, and once they're signed, it then just publishes them to any Minima node to put them on the network. So I've added that functionality here. Where is my Minima gone? That's interesting. Anyway, more importantly, the network side. So, as I mentioned, with traditional Minima or Minima Classic, if you're on a phone handset, you're not really contributing to the information layer, to the Maxima network. You're just a user, because your phone is not reachable from externally. But with the new Minima, there are things that the phones can do. They can help, store and forward messages, that other people might be offline for. So there are things that can contribute. If you're on a phone that's on a Wi-Fi, that's behind a Wi-Fi NAT on a NAT on a NAT, you can still contribute to the network in that way. If you're on a device that is connected to a Wi-Fi that has a fixed IP and perhaps you have access to, where you can port forward, without the port forwarding, you can relay extra messages. However, if you are a little bit technical and you want to support the network in a decentralized way, you can turn your phone into a full-blown Maxima node, right, with a reachable IP. And the way you do that is you port forward your phone's IP to a number. So my network knows that this is my internal IP, 192.168.1137, yeah? And I've selected this port, 9536. It could be any port within the range. I think it's 0 to 64,000 or whatever. Okay, so I set that. And then it gives me instructions on my router. I mean, it's already done here. And it will tell me to open that port on my router. And once that's done, the phone becomes a full-blown relay node. Yeah, you are the network. There we go. It will be in a minute. It will probe. It will keep checking it, and it will work it out. Look, which is so powerful. If we're getting messages sent to us in our group chats on WhatsApp that the WhatsApp is saying has been censored. They won't show it to us. This is not fair. This is not freedom. This is not the ability to communicate. This is a platform telling you what you can and cannot communicate. But by being the full network yourself, the sky's the limit. If 500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people are running this app, then there's going to be an information layer of Maxima for communicating for everyone to use forever. And it can only grow. So let's have a look. Let me check.
Demo not going as planned.
It's okay. I turned it off. It'll be back on in a minute. It was on a second ago.
Couldn't verify.
Oh look, I'm reachable now. Directly reachable. So now I am one of these relay nodes, which anyone can connect to on my phone. So if you've got an old phone, for example, you can just set this up and just have it set up all the time. To be a full relay, I insist on 60% battery and the phone to be plugged in. It's not going to be, it's not ideal for when you're rambling out and about because you're going to lose that connectivity. Your phone provider won't give you a fixed IP to allow you to be a relay. If you've got a IoT SIM with a fixed IP, maybe you can do it. But this is a way to expand and strengthen the Maxima communication network. Oh, and then on the chat app, like I say, you can. Let me find the other side of that. 1 sec.
Why is there the red writing or color on the time?
Because that is a receipt, and
now it's been read.
It wasn't delivered because the recipient node wasn't online. I've just fired it up. Wait a sec.
Yeah, and it just put the 2 ticks.
And now it's delivered it. And the old Maxima wouldn't have done that because if you're offline, you don't get it. Wait a sec. Let me stop this. And start this. This is unfinished. I'm building the desktop version, basically. Let's make that clear as well. Like that there. Then I can send the picture. My lovely face. That gets sent. And come on, demo. It will arrive. You can also send funds directly in the app. Come on, baby. Most of my images are a bit large as well, so.
So a message goes through pretty much.
Again, the desktop version I was building this morning, it's not quite finished, but it should work. I've never even tested a photo. Maybe I should have waited. But I only built the Maxima over the last few days. What?
A regular message would go through instantly.
Yeah. You can see the hello. Maybe it does it in order. Anyway, the desktop version's in development, but I could show you on another phone, in fact, rather than. Let's get rid of that. It's 23. Bastards.
Demos never work.
It does work though. Anyway, like I say, these things are fresh, and we will get there.
Barry's curse.
Also,
live demo.
also, the reason I built Maxima was to support the other Minima core apps. So what I've done, let me show you. Let's come out of this for a second. At the bottom, you can see, look, Salon is approved to communicate through Maxima. So on the Salon, let's go back here. When you go discover, and then I'm talking to someone else. Why the fuck is? Oh, you know what? I think. When you're looking at someone, this is me, but when you look, you can send messages, right? And you can either send them via chainmail on chain, which is a bit slow, or you can do it via Maxima. So look,
So Barry can correct me if I'm wrong, Charles, but I believe Maxima is its own separate layer. It doesn't actually do anything on chain.
No,
But he's
it doesn't.
asking how does it work? It doesn't interact with the chain at all.
It is compatible with Maxima Classic. Yeah, it will react. It is standalone. It doesn't need a node. If it doesn't have a node for broadcasting transactions, it needs access to any node just to publish on, which I have already in the cloud. But Minima Core is designed to be, it's just a protocol. So this is my implementation of Maxima, for the communication layer. It's not Minima, it's Maxima. And it's obviously not working on my demo, which is really annoying. But I'll find out why. Like I said, I only built these this week. Finished Maxima last night, and the desktop one I started this morning. Hello live demo has come through, and the image. You can see that? Yeah.
Yep. Sneak peek.
Anyway, obviously, the more nodes you have, the more relays there are, the faster and the more robust this will be. This is just the beginning.
One app that I do recommend you install is Panda apps. If you want to show that, Barry, since you have reworked it since last DevCall.
So now I've sort of broken it up into different sections. Minima Core at the top. If you want to install the official Minima Core, you can there. If you want to install my version, which has a better look and feel and has got some extra features, you can. And then I've got all my apps. So let's choose one. The ETH wallet. It tells you what version you've got. You can get updates here, etc., etc. But you can also go and view the code. It will take you straight to GitHub, where you can see everything that's there. Do your own research. And when I update things, you'll get a little update at the top, and it'll invite you to update. So I've got loads of different wallets: UTXO wallet, ETH wallet, Minima wallet, which is also independent of the node completely, just for publishing. Brain wallet, which is another thing I love. Can you see this? Or is that also blocked? That probably is, isn't it?
No, it's black.
Black, yeah. I haven't got a thing for that, but that gives you the ability to put in, random sorts and create seed phrases. The NFT wallet I've shown you already. Atelier. And then we've got Vesta, Future Cash, Atomics, which I showed you last week, is their HTLC cross-chain atomic swapper, either for USDT to MXUSDT or USDT on Ethereum straight into Minima native. Panda pools I showed you last week. Panda Dex is a hybrid of a limit order book Dex, but it borrows liquidity from Panda pools when no one's quoting. Again, more people use it, the better that will be. The Minimal Studio, Inbox, and Minimal. I showed you that. I think I showed you that last week. And you got the Salon, Maxima, openly. Something I'll show you next week. It's a prediction market where you can propose anything. I mean, let me see. So you open it up. You go to posts, and I'll say, look, Minima. Above 0.0042 at 2 p.m. UTC on MEXC, right? And so this is my proposition. I'm saying minimum is going to be above 0042 at 2 p.m. UTC on MEXC. This is something that is completely verifiable, right? So I'm taking the true side of that. I'll say that's true. And then I'll want to stake 10 and I might want 20 back, right? So I want 2 to 1 for that to be true. Okay. Now, when you're setting a proposition, you have to choose an arbiter. An arbiter is someone independent who maybe both of you know or both of you trust, who in the case of a disagreement can settle the bet for you. Okay. So every user's got their own arbiter details. I've set Eurobuddha as a default if you don't know anyone. I should assume the community would trust me at the beginning. So use Eurobuddha at the arbiter, and then I'd propose that, and then the other users would see the proposition. I could say, well, I don't mind taking the other side of that, but I want even money, and I'll send a counter, and then we'll agree at even money. We'll bet. If I'm betting in 10 and you're betting in 10, we both post 25% extra, which is escrow insurance. So once 2 p.m. passes and the thing can be resolved, we have to self-declare. Now, if it's above and I've lost, I'd say false. If it's above and I've won, I'd say it's true. If we both disagree, it goes to arbitration. Okay, if we agree, it just settles and we get the extra 25% back. If we don't agree, it goes to the arbiter. The arbiter will settle. There's ways you can send messages in here as well, so you can chat about it. The arbiter settles. The arbiter will take 5% of the entire, I suppose that's 125%, and then the winner gets everything else. So you'll get that extra escrow insurance because the other guy wasn't honest, which is nice. So again, fully decentralized, fully independent. No one in the middle. Only if it goes to arbitration, and you can choose your own arbiter. Later on, I'm going to build an arbiter reputation market where you can see how many things they've settled and blah blah blah, and choose your own arbiter, or be an arbiter yourself. It could be a way to make some money if this does take off and people start using it. But it is pretty sexy, and I do like it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Any questions? What we're trying to say here today is that, get your hands dirty, have a go, get a free AI, load my skills, point it at my repos, and then, build your dreams. Try.
We would really like to see what you guys are capable of coming up with. In fact, there's going to be a competition soon enough. I've just been busy with other things, but I need to set that up. A vibe coding competition. And whoever succeeds gets a nice little prize.
Also, if anyone's got a suggestion, if anyone's got a burning desire to build an app and are too scared to start, then reach out to me. I'll get you set up. We can start building it together and, see if it's a good idea. No problem.
Here to get you all motivated building your own app. You guys are capable of. Barry,
Everyone's capable, honestly.
Like to present?
No, I mean, that's enough for today.
Drugs. Okay. Well then, I think we might as well just put it up here. We've been live for about 50 minutes. I think this gives everyone a good enough idea of what's possible on Minima. And I mean, I say this, but actually a lot more possible. The NFT, the state, so if you have any questions,
Maxima will be in my DApp store by the end of today, hopefully. And please download Atelier, download Salon, make some collections, make a profile. Let me see you in the Salon town square. Let's see some activity, guys. Tell your friends. I'm also considering for the Salon to add a shop there, so you could have a digital shop or even a physical shop on your profile page, completely decentralized. Something for later.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Any questions? Drop them in the chat or message or myself. See each other in 2 weeks. The next dev call, and Patty will be there. Thanks, Barry. Taking this.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining and listening. And bye-bye.